Hello everyone, my name's Ty, and I play a lot of fighting games, but I'm also a VTuber. So you're probably thinking to yourself, fighting games, I could never get into those with the combos and the skill gaps and stuff like that. But in today's video, I'm showing you how even someone like me, just your average everyday girl on the internet, can play fighting games, be good at fighting games, and enjoy them. And yes, while it's true, I have played fighting games since I was a child. You're probably wondering how you, as a new player, can come in and not feel so overwhelmed by the genre. Because I have had many, many friends tell me, oh, I came in, gave Street Fighter a try because, I saw there was a lot of hype behind it or some other game. I was like, yeah, but it was just not for me. I felt way too overwhelmed with the skill of the other players playing the game. Well, we're gonna again address that in this video. Okay, for starters, when you are thinking of fighting games, you are probably thinking that everyone you're gonna play is like the following.
No challenge. Gets the punish there, man. She's so unsafe, bro. Oh my gosh. DOA 6. Gets in the mix. No, tries it again. Flame Falco sees those, man. All his senses are
I hear
in
him
hand.
screaming. Hey, get the senses me on.
The Zenkai boost. Called the Zenkai boost, bro.
Oh, here we go. This big damage right here. Here we go.
A lot. Close hit. Oh, no close hit. Walker.
Oh, you don't think they throw.
All right. Force tech.
But Ty, I'm not wanting to be a competitive player. I'm just wanting to play like casually and enjoy my gaming experience. Well, in this video, we're gonna show you exactly how fighting games work, how you can play casually and enjoy the game, and maybe one day even reach that skill ceiling even as a new player. But I just want to bring my love of fighting games to you all. We might show some different fighting games in this video, but they relatively all work the same, and hopefully I can just share my love of the genre with you at least the end of the video. Alright, so to start, we are here on Guilty Gear Rev 2 for the PlayStation 4, and there's multiple things you need to know about the main menu of fighting game screen. Is fighting games are usually broken down into several modes. Usually there is a story mode, an online mode, an arcade mode, and a training mode. Story mode is just that. It's usually some kind of story related to the lore of the game and the characters. Online mode is what you would assume to play online. Arcade mode is a single player experience like you would normally experience if you were to play the game on an arcade machine back in the day. And then training mode is to, well, train and learn your characters. So here we find ourselves at the character select screen of the game in training mode. And we'll notice when we select our character, we select our color, we're asked a operation type, technical or stylish. You will often see these in many fighting games, not just Guilty Gear. Technical or classic, as it's referred to in some games, all have a very similar naming convention, are where you use traditional fighting game controls to play, while stylish are more computer, in this case, computer assisted controls, or if you might see terms like modern, for example, in Street Fighter 6, which the game more or less is played for you by you just simply pressing the 4 face buttons on the controller. Now that we are in training mode of the game, let's go over some basics of how fighting games work. Typically, you move with the arrows or D-pad on the controller, with up being for jumps and down being for crouch. You also have your typical 4 face buttons, In this case, square, triangle, circle, and cross, since we're on a PlayStation controller, as well as R1, R2, L1, and L2 as our shoulder buttons. These are the most common buttons used for attacking. It is very rarely that you will use the clicking of the joysticks to indicate a action. These are often just used in training mode for like controlling the enemy characters and such. As you can see on the left hand side of the screen, while we're in training mode, as I move, my inputs are recorded and put on the left side of the screen. This is often called input display information when in a training mode, so that you can see what you're doing. The 4 face buttons are usually assigned with game-specific buttons that you need to know. For example, in Guilty Gear, square is punch, triangle is slash, cross is kick, and circle is heavy slash. These are the fundamentals that you will need to convert in every single fighting game. However, when you pause the game, you're like, what is all this crap too? Well, if we go down to command list, you may see a whole bunch of stuff here. So let me go over what this is as well. So, as you can see, these are directional inputs combined with these unique buttons, right? And then down here, you have what are called overdrives. This is this game's version of what you might call special moves. When you're first learning the game, you're not going to want to necessarily worry about these, but you're going to want to worry about these. So we're taking a look at example gun flare, which is saying it is quarter circle forward plus punch. Well, wait, Ty, what the fuck is quarter circle forward? That is the direction of which the D-pad is going, plus the punch button, as you can see here for gun flare. So if I do down, clearly I'm getting a down input, but if I roll down into this, as you can see, the arrows on the side are moving in that direction. So if I theoretically do that input, I should do gun flare. There we go. But what you're saying is, I don't know how I'm supposed to read this shit. Well, it's simple, really. All these are is basically telling you which way to move your fingers on the D-pad and what to press and when to press. So with enough practice, you can figure this out pretty easily, even as a new player. And I highly advise any new players use training modes to figure out their specific game and the actions they can perform with each character. But Ty, what about combos? What about combos? Don't I need to use this to learn combos? No, you don't. You do not need to learn combos to enjoy a fighting game, despite what you may hear from a professional level player. As a casual level player, all we are wanting to do is learn the fundamentals of how to play a game, enjoy a game, and have a good time without having to be overwhelmed by all these systems. Okay, so now moving on to Soul Calibur 3, we are going to go over the basics of positioning in a fighting game and the different types of actions going on to determine how to attack in a fighting game. First off, we will go over the basic stance, which is neutral. Think of it like putting your car in neutral. Your car is still going and everything, but it's at a standstill. It's at a stop. There's nothing really going on, right? That is being in neutral, to sit perfectly still, right? Into which you are in a position to where you can then go to, well, drive, right? In your car. Or in this case, what is called the offensive, which is where, as someone in neutral, you then attack, right? That is neutral, right? Next, we're going to learn about offensive play, where you are actively attacking your opponent, such as going in and just launching attacks. And then we have defenses, where we are having to try to defend ourselves from opponent attacks, such as guarding, counter play, or sidestepping. All three of these stances and actions are important, whether it be neutral, defense, or offensive actions. It is with all three of these things in motion that we hope to keep our HP from hitting 0 and losing the fight, and instead managing to triumph over our opponent, so that we can instead win the fight, emerging victorious. But Ty, that's fine in theory, but how can I ever accomplish such a thing? That seems like a really lot of hard work and effort to put in to just try to play a game that I'm not even sure I may be good at. Well, we have a solution for that as well. And that solution is single player modes. Through single player modes in fighting games, you can do things like play story, practice, or various other game modes provided by each individual game. Not only that, but modes such as story modes in fighting games contain things such as lore and specific character stories that may further invest you into the lore and the love of said fighting game. Not only that, but by removing yourself such barriers as a single player mode has from the online portion of a game, you not only are able to refine your skills, but not have to worry about looking like you don't know what you're doing to your peers, and can just simply enjoy the game as it is without any outside influence. And I hear you, because you're thinking to yourself, but Ty, I've tried doing that. I've tried doing that game with like Street Fighter 6 and its story mode, but I still couldn't get myself to invest it and was still overwhelmed by all the mechanics of the game that just made me feel like I could never reach my true potential or invest time in the game. And I have a solution to that as well, and it's a very simple one. And that solution is, well, old fighting games. You're probably thinking, wait, Ty, you want me to learn how to get into fighting games with an old game? Well, it's simple. Back in the day, these games weren't made with the intention for you to play online. So they relied on you to love the game enough to play with your friends, sit on the same couch, and enjoy the game, or go to an arcade machine and spend millions and millions of quarters over the course of years playing the same game over and over. Well, let's be honest, while smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol illegally. So things like the arcade mode in these games are more fleshed out and more beginner friendly and get harder as you progress through them, giving you a more single player focused expansion with things like team battle mode, time attack mode, survival mode, in this case Tekken Force mode, geared at a more single player experience to keep you engaged with your game for longer hours so that you would not only play by yourself a lot, but with your friends a lot. So if we go into, let's say, arcade mode on Tekken 3, here for example, I don't have very many characters unlocked, but let's go in and let's select King, for example, right? We're going to go in without the options of many other fighting games. We can't use our back trigger buttons. They literally do nothing. And we rely just on our inputs and the 4 face buttons for control, right? having to use back for block with no dedicated block button, and just play game. Just simply play game. And rely on our own experimentation with the buttons to learn to play the game and thus get more skillful. Without the pressures of an online mode or anything else, just simply us and the game and learning to play the game in its most basic a form factor to help you learn whether or not this genre is for you. Sure, it may not have the most state-of-the-art graphics, but at the end of the day, it is still a fighting game. It may not be Tekken 8, it may be Tekken 3, but overall, learning how to play a game even this old will carry over into new titles as well. But hi, I don't want an old system to have to be able to play these old fighting games. Well, luckily for you, games like Tekken 2 and 3 are available on the PlayStation 5 even, or even on the PS4, making the games far easier and plentiful to access. So in short, what we learned today in this video is a little bit on how fighting games work, where you can get fighting games, advice for how to get into fighting games, and overall, hopefully maybe you even learned something a little today. I know some of you might see this video and think, nah, fighting games are still not for me. And that's fine. But I hope that through this video that I showed you it's relatively easy to get into fighting games without having to worry about all the esports crap that is very usually associated with fighting games. And I hope that maybe some of you see this video and you pick up Tekken 3 or Soul Calibur 3 or DOA 6 or maybe even Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising, since that one has a pre-play version, and can enjoy this hobby just as much as I do without the fear of having trouble coming in just because you're a new player. I hope you all liked this video. I apologize, it's a little rough. I'm still learning to make YouTube content. I'm much more of a streamer than a video maker, but I had a lot of fun recording this, and I hope you can find some fun in this video too. And I will see you guys over at Twitch on twitch.tv/Tae27 or here on my YouTube channel for further videos and shorts. So, without any more wasting your time, I hope you all have a wonderful day regardless of what time it is for you, and I will see you guys later. Bye.